Hello, this is the RPG Crawler with another tabletop RPG news roundup. This time for August 17th, 2025, where each week I take a look back at the week in tabletop role playing game news and bring you the highlights. It looks like Cosmere is getting a release on October 29th, a tabletop RPG based on Brandon Sanderson's works. The first three books will feature Roshar from the Stormlight Archive series and include a handbook, world guide, and an adventure book with a starter set box to get people started on the system. Moving onward towards minor and PDF releases, Frog Goddess Games has Razor Coast Call of the Frog God available for Pathfinder and Swords and Wizardry systems. It is an adventure unrelated to the main Razor Coast adventure arc, meant as a sort of side quest style offering. Tyrant of Blackrock is a 5th edition adventure dealing with a village where a horde of humanoids have made camp and their demands have become oppressive. Queen of Atlantis, at least I'm assuming it's Atlantis because it's spelled like three different ways, one one on the book title, one in the text, and one on the actual listing. So it's either Queen of Atlantis, Queen of Atalantis, and Queen of Atlantis. I have no idea. Anyway, it's a politically focused adventure series for 5th edition, wherein a king has died without an heir, and now the throne will pass to one proven most worthy. Elven Tower has a set of adventures, each one suited for both 5th edition and Shadowdark. There's Shrine of Jeweled Eggs, Hall of Wormbone Anvil, and The Druidic Prophecy. Dungeon Matters has Aurelia Rising No. 3, Herbert West Reanimator, an adaptation of the Lovecraft story with the same name to 5th edition using a 1920s setting. Ashes Beneath the Gate is a 5th edition compatible toolkit for dark fantasy, offering new powers, character options, a new core class, and more. Traveler's Guide to the Dragon Cantons is a new 5th edition compatible supplement, this one offering information on dragon-related options. It's from Chamomile Has Adventures. I believe it's actually a supplement to another dragon-related option that was offered before. The Dragon's Horde, number 57 from Legendary Games, is an anthology of 5th edition compatible items, spells, monsters, and more that comes out, I think, each month, or roughly there so. The Shackled Serpent is a Shadowdark RPG adventure, this time dealing with a nine-room ruin with associated magic items and threats. Thralls of the Heartship is another Shadowdark RPG adventure, this one starting with a strange barge coming to the docks, after which a red fog rolls in, allowing strange humanoids to escape from the barge and roam the city streets. Shadowstones is a solo Shadowdark zine inspired by such things as Dragon Age, Demon Souls, and Old School Dungeon Crawlers, which is three completely different things, but oh well. Treasures from the Dark is another Shadowdark offering, this one featuring various magic items and sets for that RPG. The Fall of Willowdale will be a adventure for Castles and Crusades, where a halfling village hidden in the forest has made a pact with a vengeful spirit, which has warped its townfolk. It is suited to be used as a one-shot or as part of a series. Manic at the Monastery is a Old School Essentials compatible adventure that features an ancient monastery, of course. And Dracula's Castle is an OSR in general, not necessarily any particular system, gothic horror-themed hex crawl featuring a vampire's castle and other dungeons in a pocket realm surrounded by mist. Sounds familiar. Castle of the Veiled Queen is an OSR module that builds upon Beyond Corny Gron, featuring a grand fortification in that same setting. The Silent Cloister is a Dragonbane compatible adventure, this one featuring an abandoned monastery built for solo or GM-less play. Eye of the Dragon is an adventure for advanced fighting fantasy based on a Dicing with Dragons book. It actually predates the old fighting fantasy adventure books. Schwalb Entertainment has Book of Salvation, Order of the Sacred Heart for Shadow of the Demon Lord, which offers a good society that fights the evil of the Demon Lord's servants. Grim Perils is a fast 2d6 based system dealing with gritty fantasy worlds, especially inspired by those of the original Grimm's fairy tales. Yokai Bestiarium for Daggerheart is what it says, an expansion that offers various adversaries inspired by Japanese folklore for the Daggerheart system. Legend in the Mist is a rustic-style fantasy role-playing game meant to have a focus on narrative RP based on the City of Mist system. There's also an action grimoire for that system, giving suggestions on actions that the heroes can take. Shadow Guilds is a system-neutral fantasy campaign setting with a sort of noir and mafia-style theme, but in a fantasy world. Vampire Mania, The Cursed Cloister, is an adventure of the Vampire Mania RPG, which I suspect is based on a certain, 8-bit video game. Anyway, this one deals with a small monastery where the monks have shut themselves up against the forces of the Vampire Lord. Backwards Tabletop has a couple offerings. They've made it into two different systems, although I suspect they're compatible. They use the same core. There's Back Channels. It deals with a kind of gothic coastal theme. set in the post-apocalyptic southeast of America, and there's an adventure book for it called Back Channels Adventures that offers a couple of adventures. Then there's Backwoods, New England Gothic horror that uses the same system but set in the Northeast, this time with Backwoods Adventures Something Rotten, which includes a few adventures for that. The Mother of Storms is a zine for Gunslinger Knights, which I think I covered last week, which offers a quest generator for that system, among other things. Mythic Shards Story Guide reference book contains material for various new settings and genres to use with a Scion system from Onyx Path. Neon City Blues is a Brindlewood-based role-playing game that offers various street-level characters. They are pulled into investigating crimes in a mega-corporation-dominated city. Shattered Sky is a sector for Stars Without Number, the OSR sci-fi game, detailing a sector that was torn apart and is both a setting and a sandbox area to explore. Mongoose has a set of Journal of the Traveler's Aid Society volumes, each of which compiles various material for the Traveler's system, from adventures to creatures to ships and so forth. There's volumes 13 through 18 available this week. Wrongful Arrest is an adventure compatible with FTL Nomad and similar Cepheus engine-derived systems. It has the group arrested on a fabricated charge and pressured to help take down a drug distribution ring by a desperate detective. Free League has Coriolis, the Great Dark, where you play explorers sorting through the ruins outside of Ship City. Finally, there's Astro Cruise Staffing, a brief offering for Mothership RPG that deals with retrieving cargo from a derelict freighter. With that, let's take a look at crowdfunding campaigns. Remember that contributing to a crowdfunding campaign should be done only at your own risk. Doing so is no guarantee of receiving a product. Mentioned here is not an endorsement, but is for informational purposes only. The Missing Grain shipment looks to be a one-shot adventure for 5th edition. It'll include some investigation and wilderness exploration, all for low-level characters. Rats will be a one-shot 5th edition adventure dealing with an earthquake that has resulted in rats with a variety of various abilities, likely due to an illegal apothecary shop where they've gotten into. Untold Fate looks to be a campaign module for 5th edition in both versions of Pathfinder, set in the world of Elestria. The Demon's Doom will be a collection of 6 one-page 5th edition dungeons that are designed to combine into one full-size dungeon adventure. Joust will fund a set of 5th edition compatible jousting rules to be used either on horseback or motorcycle for modern systems. Secrets of Mist will be an anime-inspired 5th edition supplement that introduces new classes and new patron and other mechanics with themes from shonen-style anime. Subclasses of Wonder will gather 50 thematic subclasses for 5th edition with elemental, divine, eldritch, and other inspirations. Villains and Foes for 5th edition is another collection of villains for 5th edition, of course, with their own stories, layers, minions, and so on for use in any game. Oaths and Orders will look to fill out 100 new factions for 5th edition, complete with lore, culture, leaders, and associated quests. God Rules is going to try to fund an expansion for 5th edition, focusing on deities, demigods, and similar high-end play inspired by the Immortals rules from the old Beckme edition, at least apparently. The Rust and the Raider Land will be a 5th edition campaign with a steampunk theme where floating cities are beginning to fall to a land covered in dust and rust where machines are asleep beneath the sands. Astonishing Heroes of the Public Domain will stat out various public domain characters such as Santa Claus, Achilles, etc. Everything to more modern stuff for the DCC RPG. Populated Hexes Monthly, issue 49, is looking to begin a 5th year of the classic OSR zine, this time focusing on the city of Junction, where the first players in that setting started, so basically a throwback to its origins. Delve 3rd edition will look to fund an expanded and rebuilt version of the Delve tabletop RPG, which is now coming up on 10 years old. The original was produced in 2015. The 2nd edition was printed in 2017, so even since the 2nd edition, it has been quite a bit. A Return of the Living Dead will be an official 40th anniversary version of the RPG series, this one produced in a VHS-style box to reflect the source material. Era Survival 8th Anniversary Edition looks to be a new edition of the Era Survival tabletop RPG set in a century after an infection has spread and turned many humans and animals into monsters. Vengeance California will be a pulp tabletop RPG set in the 1960s, but with themes from ultra-violent revenge media such as John Wick, Kill Bill, etc. Finally, there's A Little Drop of Poison, which is set in the which will be a tabletop RPG of survival horror with specific narrative, side missions, one-shot scenarios based on horror media. And on that, I'm going to wrap things up here. This has been the RPG Crawler, my Tabletop RPG News Roundup for August 17th, 2025. As always, links will be below. If you like what you've seen, remember to leave a like, comment, any feedback, and subscribe for more RPG content. Until next time, take care and goodbye. And if you are still watching, I would like to take the opportunity to thank my supporters, the top tiers of which are listed on the screen, without whose support I would not have been able to offer the variety of content that I have on this channel throughout the years. If you're feeling particularly generous and would like to join them,
You can support the channel. There are a variety of options to do so. I have a Patreon, a Subscribe Star, as well as channel memberships enabled. If you are not in a position to contribute, simply leaving a like, a comment, or sharing my videos are all wonderful ways to help the channel grow without spending a dime, and are all greatly appreciated.